Alright, hello everyone and welcome to the video update my 1000 days challenge. This is day 599, so let's get things started. Alright, so first and foremost, balance remain the same. I actually entered 3 long trade in terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink, but that's purely based on the main trading account setup. So definitely risking another 3% in terms of the main trading account setup again. On the other hand, for experimental trade setup, I'm not entering any trade like what I mentioned. I'm putting it on hold. And on the other hand, for price action trade, I did potentially miss the trade setup, but I'm not entering now that I miss it. But if you look in terms of that on the 4-hour chart, I mentioned yesterday we're waiting for pullback and then we're waiting for clear break. So clear break entry will be somewhere around here, 42.2K. So if it does comes across here, find support again, potentially there could be a good entry point. But bear in mind that generally if it does come again, it could be a lot weaker in that sense. We do want a very clear break above this region itself, which is currently around 42.5K. If you could stay above that and then strongly break above, and then consolidate right above or right around the 44K region itself, and consolidate right over here, you will potentially form a very strong breakout towards the even upside itself, and that will form a really great market in that sense. So for me, perspectively, across the board, the reason why I'm shifting a little bit more bullish is because if you look across the board, S&P 500, Nasdaq, ASHR, KWEB in particularly has been doing relatively well over the past few days. So overall, if you look in terms of the price action on the daily, on the weekly chart basis, things looks to be a lot better in terms of traditional financial market. The capitulation seems to have taken place for ASHR and KWEB, and then the pullback for S&P 500 and Nasdaq seems to be tentatively completed for the time being itself. But that's not to say that we cannot have further downside in terms of a midterm, like the next 2 to 3 months or even 3 to 6 months in the tentatively period itself. All right, but things definitely looks a lot better compared to say a couple of weeks ago in that sense. So you can see this was a down period. So potentially I did see today as a more of a red day itself, especially with key resistance over here for Nasdaq, and then also another resistance over here for S&P 500. But it seems that we are continuing the upward trend and momentum itself, which could definitely be a thing to say. But let's see if we do have a clear resistance near the 46,000 region itself, and then also another resistance region between the 15,000 region itself. So let's see how things goes. Overall, leaning towards a little bit more towards the bullish to neutral to bullish territory, even though price is still below the moving averages on the 200-day moving averages across the board. But yeah, it is what it is. And other than that, that's more or less about it. If you're looking for long-term investment wise, I would still say that it's a very good value proposition, value in terms of adding for both the US market and potentially even the China market itself. And the reason why I again shifted a little bit in terms of the sentiment for China market is because of what the Chinese government is pledging in that sense. But that is taking into consideration that they do continue and hold true to their statement in terms of upholding their own capital market, and that the fear of the actual delisting of the market itself from US would not take place itself as well. So that actually have to take two hands to clap for both the US side and also the China side of things. So it seems that they do value the capital market more than I expected. So that's something to take note of. But bearing in mind, it still has to take into consideration that the US has to be allowing them to do so, and that the criteria for them to stay listed also has to be met, and that the Chinese government is allowing them to do the necessary audit, and that they wouldn't be changing the rules in that sense. So there are still many of uncertainty in factor itself, but at the end of the day, all investment do have uncertainty. So for me, for China stocks, I will only be allocating a maximum of 30% to my entire portfolio itself when it comes to stocks. And then for the US market itself, tentatively is around 60 to 70%, with the rest of it a little bit in terms of Singapore local market. But I'm actually shifting majority to the US market if there's a right opportunity in that sense. All right, otherwise, that's more or less about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below, or see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.